like one of the great American cities.
Hey everybody. Well, let's get this over here going. All right.
And now remember, go to Instagram
Instagram.
and hit go live.
Go live.
And it'll update at some point.
There we go. And then how do I go back to the other studio?
Let's see.
Or do we leave it on that?
You can go there.
Here. Okay. So hopefully you can check the other ones. Is that my wine?
Yeah.
Top of the evening, everybody. Good evening. Over here on TikTok. What a wonderful, wonderful weekend we've had this weekend. Hello, Miss Rhonda, over on Facebook. We're playing around with, I did a, hey, Miss Katie, I did a little trial period that's free. Something's on the computer screen. I thought something was on my nose. A little, they did. Lord, I'm like, Lord, I got something on my nose, and it was something on the. Hey, Miss Diane, the sugar detox January is over, so I'm having a little sip of wine, and the teapot's going off. I can't decide if I want wine or tea, but anyhow, I'm using a StreamYard, a little trial thing to see how I like it so that I can go live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and then I can go live on TikTok on my little phone over here to the side. So top of the evening, everybody. Ava, hey, thank y'all for the hearts and stuff over on TikTok. We got about 100 and something people in the room on TikTok. Y'all come on in for a few minutes this Sunday evening. It's just... I got a notification from Instagram that you were live. Well, good. It's working then. I can see comments over here. I can't see the comments from Instagram. I think I have to do a little side screen for that. But your tea kettle is ready. Yes, Miss Patricia. It's whistling. I've got where I've almost become like my morning coffee. I like to have a sip of hot evening tea. And now that January is over, I can put a little spoonful of honey in it and give it a little bit of sweeter taste in them. We did get a good walk in this morning. We walked this morning early and about 9:30 or so. So beautiful. It's so pretty here in Atlanta, and it's going to be up in the 70s for the next 4 or 5 days. So one of the joys of living in Atlanta, 250 people. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Come on in. Just had such a good weekend. My granddaughter turned 13. Actually, she turned 13 officially tomorrow, but it's school day. But anyhow, tomorrow evening, I'm going to go over to her house, and it's been a beautiful day, lifted my spirits. Yeah, it's just been so beautiful, y'all, so beautiful. I'm going to go over tomorrow evening to Cabbagetown, and maybe me and her and Ava and Jill will walk down to the Carroll Street Cafe and have just a little slice of present day birthday cake, whatever. Ava's right here piddling, making tea. Now I want y'all I want y'all to look at this. I got a what wine is this? Sauvignon Blanc?
Yes.
And then I got hot tea. This is my chaser.
He's double fisting y'all.
I take a sip of tea and then I chase it with a sip of wine. I was just on a live video with Heather Cox Richardson. She was freaking me out, so I was happy to switch to you. Yeah, I love her though. She's got deep knowledge of what everything that's going on. Miss Patricia said, hi, Ava.
Hello, Miss Patricia.
So I try to get Ava to pull up a chair and sit down with me for 10 minutes or so. But her face ain't made up. She ain't got her lipstick on. She don't like to look like that. I said, no, people don't care. People go to Walmart in their pajamas. Good evening from near Glenwood Avenue. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but good evening to you over on Glenwood Avenue. Ava and I go over to Glenwood Avenue at that Kroger almost every other day. we just run in there. I don't like buying up a lot of groceries, but groceries are so expensive. I still spend $150 all running there. But for real, we don't judge you, Ava. They said, hello, Minnesota, up there in Minnesota. I think Tatiana Gail says she's lovely without lipstick. I actually think women are pretty without a lot of makeup and lipstick and all that on, when they just have their natural human beauty about them. You know, I think older women are beautiful with gray hair. I just think they're striking. So anyway, good evening, Miss Stephanie. Yeah, that's kind of freaky, y'all, what's going on in the country. And you know, we have to have ourselves moments where we do get freaked out. But to start with, I want to mention that Ava and I just finished. I love the comedian Leanne Morgan, and she's in this new movie called You're Cordially Invited. The movie was way too long, but it's worth the watch. It's funny. Will Ferrell, it don't get no better than Will Ferrell. And Reese Witherspoon's in it, and it's one of them things that's so stupid that it's funny, but it's on Amazon Prime. So where are the protest events? I thought they already happened. I'm just kind of scanning through comments and stuff, y'all. But anyhow, it was just a beautiful day today. There's a fella that has his own podcast, TV show, Henry Harris, that we did a little interview, 12:30, 1 o'clock today or something, and something that he'll be putting down. You know what I thought about though, because Henry, the Brother Henry News Show, Henry has. It's a spiritually based kind of interview show, and he's interviewed greats, all kind of real up high level pastors and preachers from around the country. And but I realized that when I don't even know how to pretend like I'm still know how to do preacher jargon and talk preacher wise and all like that. I don't even know if some of the stuff I said get played or not, because we got off on Trump for a minute, and I'm like, well, I tell you, if somebody thinks they're following, this is a religious kind of related kind of program, you know, where he interviews bishops and pastors, and I don't even know how to talk in any of that jargon. I've been so removed from it for so long. And I just told him, I said, anybody thinks they follow Christ and they support Donald Trump, they're just full of doo-doo. I said, I'll keep it mild at doo-doo, but they're so full of doo-doo. And so, yeah, she is very informative, Stephanie, Heather Cox Richardson. I really enjoy her. Thank y'all for the gifts over on TikTok and this evening, and thank y'all for coming into the room and saying hello, and thank you for the follows. And I'm sitting here in my dining room in East Point, Georgia, looking into this. What is this right here? Hey, Ava, why is this right here saying something? I don't know what it's saying. I'm trying to figure out this new program. Yeah, so I haven't watched any news all weekend. So I don't know what's going on with the tariffs in Mexico and Canada and China, or as Donald Trump says, China. Yeah, good Lord, I scare you. We know this, though, that they're starting to warn people ahead of time that that prices are going to be going up. It's all bad news. You're smart not to look at it. I mean, I stay pretty informed. I did see a scroll a minute ago. Some of you people might know more about this, where that they had to, there's a plane, an American Airlines flight or something in Houston that caught fire. You know, before it was to take off, they had to maybe deplane the plane. The plane caught fire. what's going on, y'all? What's going on with all the planes and crashes and collisions and planes catching on fire in Houston? I think Trudeau got out because he knew tariffs were coming and Canada and Mexico just got hit. Maybe, but it's not like Mexico and China doesn't have their own weapons that they can use in a fight with tariffs also. He's drinking wine, Corona last night, wine tonight. What's next? Y'all not going to believe this. This is the first glass of wine I've had in months. I'm not really a drinker. Just because I had a Corona last night and a glass of wine tonight and washing it down with hot tea doesn't mean I'm a drinker. Doesn't mean I'm not a drinker either. Chris over on TikTok says her husband just told her about the Houston plane. That's weird, y'all. Yeah, it is. Things are going to backfire for Republicans. Yeah, we can only hope, because no matter, you're not going to be able to shame them or guilt them or manipulate them or something. People's real dug in on Donald Trump, and they're real dug in on being anti-trans and anti-gay and anti-black folks, And I have to be careful what I say because I'm on TikTok. I think I'm pretty safe over on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. But they were basically, they had this rumor spreading like wildfire across. We all going to be drinking or eating too much chocolate soon. Yeah, I have tequila coffee mixed with Bailey's. Yeah, I love a hot chocolate with Bailey's Irish cream in it and a little amaretto. They made them that drink at a place in Vienna. Don't I talk like I've been around the world? And I came home and bought some Bailey's Irish cream and amaretto and hot chocolate. And last winter was that. So every night I'd have me a hot chocolate with call it hot toddy with some Bailey's and amaretto in it. No, there wasn't another plane crash. Safi, I just heard that an American Airlines flight or something caught on fire while it was sitting on the runway. And isn't that a blessing, though? At least it was on the runway and you didn't just see a big old ball of fire flying through the sky. They don't care. It's patriotic now to spend higher prices. The spin is in full effect. Yeah, they'll say that. But things could, I'm sure what they were saying about Heather Cox Richardson. I made Irish cream and amaretto as Christmas gifts this year. Yeah, I'm sure what Katie said. And yes, there was another plane crash. I know there was the plane collision in D.C. and then there was the plane crash in Philadelphia or somewhere in Pennsylvania, and then today a plane caught on fire. And my daughter Jill and my grandson Caleb and Chance and Savannah is about to leave next week to start flying from Atlanta to New York. And Jill's already having anxiety about it. She's like, my God, when did I schedule this? 7 dead in Philly. Yeah, I saw that. Let's just say I won't be flying anytime soon. Yeah, my daughter's about to fly up to New York. She's kind of really concerned about it. When they pay my mortgage, they can have input into what I drink in my house. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And y'all. Yeah. So I don't know how we can prepare for what's going on in the nation or what's coming down the chute, because we don't really know what's coming down. Our price is going to go crazy. Our price is just going to, our house price, and the flip side of that, the good thing about the plane in Dallas was that the cockpit warnings worked correctly and the pilot stopped the plane. Thank God. Stephanie says Chicago and Texas. We don't know what's coming. The future, we don't know what the future is. Just in my sense, I get a sense that things could go off the rails quickly. I remember in 2007 and 2008 when George W. Was in office and the economy collapsed. they was homes that was $200,000 homes around Atlanta. You could buy them for $10,000 and $12,000 from the bank. The banks was just going out of business and liquidating and trying to clean their books up. I bought 2 or 3 of them for that during that time, and it shocked everybody that our whole economy was basically. They said, you listen to all the great economists, and they said it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors, because when it plummeted, I mean, big insurance companies, big Wall Street firms, they just went kaput. People lost their 401ks, they lost their retirements. And I mean, some people, there was people that had $800, $900, $1.5 million in 401ks and in the retirement parts of that. And they just went to zero, just went belly up. Katie says, I don't remember ever a time as dreadful as this. I mean, I know I'm just a baby at the age of 59, but still, yeah. So, you know, we can get on here and we can be gloom and doom and talk about the coulds and woulds and all, but the reality is nobody in our country has ever been to this place before that we're at right now. Where we're basically living through a coup. This was not, this was a man who was determined to take over the government by any means possible. And I have to be real careful when I say this. I'm not one to buy into conspiracy theories. I'm not one to believe that this was rigged or that was rigged. You know, if just my own opinion, if you buy into too much conspiracy theories, you're kind of weak-minded. And that's the way I view it. And I don't buy into that. But at the same time, if somebody told me, said, do you think it's beyond Elon Musk and Donald Trump to steal an election? I'd be like, absolutely. It's not beyond them. Because these are the kind of people that we know they are, you know. And so it just, the whole country could be just on, could be just smoke and mirrors. And this thing can unravel and start coming apart pretty quick. And it could be one of them scenarios with terrorists and all these countries that's, you know, basically Donald Trump's bullying Mexico. You know, what good does it take to rename the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America? That ain't nothing but just being a petty bully, just a bully, you know, just going through life bullying. In Canada, my God, you know, and then he's only going to do 10% on China. But there's ways that this could really fly back and hurt people, working people, you know, these same people. For the life of me, yeah, maybe the Dems in 20, the post, so 24. Yeah, for the life of me, I don't understand this because I've always been around poor people. I was raised up poor. I came from a poor family, raised in a mill village. None of my family was educated. None of them finished high school. None of them had college degrees. My mama couldn't read and write. And so, I mean, I've always been raised up around really poor people. And it's just shocking to me that when you drive across, you know, out in Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi and Tennessee, and you go by these huge rundown trailer parks. And I'm just saying that's the poorness of people. When you think you're doing, well, you have a place, but you go by these rundown trailer parks and they're all over Alabama and Georgia once you get out in some areas. And you see people out there that's die hard with their Trump flags and Trump signs. And for the life of me, I don't understand why anybody that has nothing really, would want billionaires to say whether or not their Social Security and their pensions are safe. To have billionaires, some of them on the verge of being trillionaires, to think they're going to look out for their best interests. You know, it's weird. It's weird, y'all. Very weird. No. My daughter Heather says, I can be poor. I just want to feel safe. And I don't know, y'all. I guarantee you, Hey, Miss Rita, thank you. Thank you there. Miss Rita says, mad respect, sir. But what we're witnessing a coup that is that has happened in our country. If somebody forced me to be a betting man and to wager, do I believe we'll have a presidential election again in 4 years from now? I wouldn't bet no, I wouldn't bet money on it because this is the whole purpose, the unraveling. And I have my own theory about it. I have my theory that demographic wise, the white population has been in decline for the last 25 years. Every year, it gets a smaller and smaller percentage of Americans as, yes, you do it by blaming others for your poverty. They've taken your job away. That's how he did it. Yeah. Yeah, they make these people that I was talking about in these poor rundown trailer parks believe that those illegal immigrants that got over here from Honduras and Guatemala, they come to steal your job. And yeah, they've already. Somebody over in TikTok said they're trying to get Trump already okay to run for a third term, and Elon and them they would know how to rig that election fairly easy, actually. The thing about it is, if the country was really serious about elections, every one of us could take our cell phone, and we could vote in the privacy of our cell phone. It could not be stolen. I'm going to tell y'all something. I can take my cell phone and I can sign in to my banking institution and I can transfer $100,000 in 2 minutes from my account to your account. And it's safe. Believe me, if they got technology where somebody could transfer on their phone $100,000, just a swipe of your thumbprint, they could figure voting out. That would be safe and fair. You know why they won't do that? Because if people could do that, Republicans would never win another election in this country because they're way outnumbered, but people don't vote. And that's what works in their favor. People don't vote, that was something I'd like to hear more about. Maybe it post at some point. Yeah. So anyway, somebody over here's Abolish MAGA2 says, send me 50,000. Let's try it, Mr. Eddie. Wouldn't it be fun if I could do that? But you can do that. You can do that, just like yesterday, I was giving my granddaughter, Savannah, $100. I forgot to do it. And I told her nanny, my ex-wife, Kathy, I said, I didn't go by the bank and get no money. I said, go, because Kathy handles the banking for the business and my banking and stuff too, keeps up with everything, even though we've been divorced now for 25 years. She's still a part of all our family and that handles all that. And so even yesterday, I'm like, good evening, Francis, up in Tennessee. Nikki says, I'm so nervous about what is happening. But I told Kathy, I'm like, sign on like with her phone or whatever and just transfer $100 from my account over to Savannah because she was going to Linux. She can just get it that way instead of me giving her cash. And so people do banking all the time now with that. Even I see Ava getting checks and she'll take her phone and take pictures of them and then just deposit them right in her account, just by taking a picture of a check, all that stuff. So voting should be very safe. If you can, people's funny about their money. If you can transfer money, you should be able to transfer he is isolating us to our allies, won't help us. Let me ask y'all something. Do y'all think he's purposely that this is a bit, if you look at the bigger picture, is he purposely trying to ruin relationships with our neighbors, Canada and Mexico? Who would that benefit in the long run? It would benefit China and Russia. Is he purposely trying to dismantle our friendships of the NATO and the European countries and Asia, who would that benefit? I'm suspicious of his motives. I know what he's doing, but I'm suspicious of why. What is the purpose? Why is he doing this? And I don't put anything past him either. I personally, I believe he's evil. I don't believe there's a political difference. Al Gore and George W. I voted for Al Gore. George W. won. There's political differences. This what's going on in the country now. It's not political differences. Political differences is how much do you cut from defense spending? Do you or do you not support the NASA program? You can have political differences. Should corporate America pay this rate of tax or this rate of tax? The Democrats and Republicans can fight over which is the more fair way to go in that. This right here is not about political differences. This is about a coup that has taken over our country. And this is about hate and revenge and bitterness taking over the American system. And so he intentionally chosen a cabinet that is completely incompetent, exactly what Putin did in Ukraine. Yeah, you have to wonder why is he putting people that can't pass a background check in senior cabinet positions? I mean, you have to wonder what's going on with this. And so anyway, we just get up. Tomorrow's Monday morning. We get up, we pick our head up, we go on. Miss Diane said, I saw a Republican senator on one of their Sunday morning news shows, and he said that we should not be giving money to African countries to help fight AIDS and HIV. I could not believe that he said that, because he said, what do they do for us? Yeah, that's the America. They love our neighbors like we love ourselves. And y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, what does African people, countries do for us that we should give them money to help their people with AIDS and HIV? I could not believe that I heard that, because he said, what do they do for us? I know he was referring to terrorist groups, but that's what we do because we are caring people. Aren't we? Yeah, and they say now that Musk, the Midwest pecker. Well, you've probably been a pecker a time or two in your life, but they say Musk now has all the wherewithal to go in and check Social Security accounts, people's federal payroll, retirement. He's got his thumbprints all in there, going through all that information now. Joy said he wants to be a dictator. People have seem to forget that 77 million Americans willingly voted. Yeah, he does have that real dictator. I don't, my thing is the country will never go back to the way it used to be. And here's where we go into a little different territory. We'll never go back to a President Obama or a Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. The Democrats have got to find a new way forward to connect with people. And I know that the election, every one of them are connected. His staff who is advising him is dangerous, and they're all connected with the Project 2025 initiative. Yeah, they are. They sworn loyalty to him because of the evangelical vote. But I would say this. I think the Democrats need new blood. They need a new voice. They need a new way forward. We can't go back to having a San Francisco liberal, which I loved, Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. The Democrats have got to tap into something different. And I know we only lost the election by 3 million votes, vote-wise. And my thing is, I think after these elections, I've come to believe that the country's not ready now for a female president. I just don't believe the country. I don't think it was more or less because Vice President Harris was a woman of color. I think it's because the people are just not ready for a female to be president of the United States. And I think we can keep nominating a woman for that position, and she's probably going to keep losing. And I don't think the Speaker of the House that we have now on the Democratic side, I don't see any Democratic senators that really would just galvanize and get people motivated to a new way forward, because it seems like we've lost Ohio and Florida for a generation to the extreme MAGA people. And it's going to be hard to win a national election when you start out with Texas, all of the South, Florida and Ohio. And now it looks like more and more like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin's tipping over to the extreme conservative side. So if and I love Pete Buttigieg, but I don't think the country in this divisiveness that we're in will elect a man that's an openly gay man. I just don't think that's going to happen, although we love Mayor Pete. And so I think over the next year or two, we need voices that's new on the scene, that connects. And I'll tell you this as just somebody that years ago was all in the church world and all into charisma. And the greatest preachers around, the reason they're so powerful, it's not so much their style or what they're saying or what they're not saying. It's because they have what Hollywood calls the it factor, where they walk on up to a podium or on a stage somewhere or in a coffee shop, and there's magnetism about them where they just easily connect with people. And the Democrats don't have nobody on the scene right now to do this. And the Republicans don't either, except for Donald Trump. It became more of a cult following. He's kind of like a living Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you ever seen people that go year after year and time after time to see that movie. Yes, Obama had it. So the Democrats, I mean, you can talk about gay rights, you can talk about abortion, you can be on all the right sides of issues. But if you don't have something about you that's very charismatic, that speaks to the masses, and if you listen to the tapes of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., very charismatic man, very charismatic. He make you lean in like this and listen to him, and speak to you, just speak to you. JFK, yeah. JFK, you can watch the old black and whites of him just talking, and he was, although he had horrible back pain and a lot of ailments in his body, he'd step up to a podium and he'd smile, and people just gravitated to his charisma, his youthfulness. And the traditional way we use to select people to run is over. Trump as a dictator will never leave. You could be true. That could be. I won't. You know what? Can you picture Donald Trump willingly walking out of the White House? Because he loves power. Most politicians do. They love power. And so who is it going to be? I don't see nobody on the political spectrum right now that says, wow, man, when that guy speaks, I really just lean in and I feel like he's connecting with people. Thank y'all over here on TikTok. I ain't forgot about you. I'm just talking. I'm also on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram Live, although I can't really see the Instagram. Let me see right here. Y'all give me just a minute. Oh, good heavens. His government. Yeah, I don't know how I do this over here, though. That's kind of weird. Thank y'all over on Instagram. I see the comments, but I'm just getting used to this right here. Let me go back over here. Okay. So somebody needs to come forward in the next year or two and start to connect with people. And I wish the Democrats, I'm just like, they're just, yeah, the Republicans have an 80-year-old white man, Donald Trump. I think the Democrats, Chuck Schumer, the minority leader in the Senate. I mean, my God, you've been up there forever, Chuck. Let somebody that's got charisma kind of come onto the scene. You're old. I mean, there comes a time in football and in baseball and even in politics, there kind of just needs to be some house cleaning. And I've always voted Democrat since the time I voted when I was 18. I turned 70 this thing. I've always been a Democrat. I've always voted for Democrats. But I'm telling you, and being a part of the Harris campaign, I told he's been Gavin Newsom. I don't know. If I'm being honest about it, somebody over here says Gavin Newsom, he don't do nothing for me. And I think sometimes, and I know this is a weird way to look at politics. Well, he was married to that woman. I say that woman disrespectfully. He was married to a lady that turned out to be kooky. She's with the Trump administration, and she was going to get married to Donald Trump Jr. To me, that right there tells me all I need to know about Gavin Newsom. I mean, what kind of character or what kind of judgment he's got to marry somebody like her. I'm like, no, I'm good. Maybe my standard's too high. But when people show you who they are, Dr. Maya Angelou did say, believe them. And I love Mayor Pete Buttigieg, but the country's not ready to put a openly out gay man in the White House as president of the free world. I'm telling y'all. And I've been in the gay rights movement and AIDS rights movement for the last 25 years and have just been very supportive of that. But the country's not going to go that way. I wouldn't doubt, and you know what? Maybe Pete Buttigieg, maybe he's smart enough that he understands that, and maybe he can be a great help in the process of the coming election, but he doesn't maybe have the ego that's don't care what happens. He just wants to be the nominee. I don't perceive him to be like that. He's a Rhodes Scholar. But we do. It's not that we need a savior. We don't need a cult leader, but we need somebody that we can say, there you go. Somebody right there. He's going out here and talking face to face with people, woman to woman with people, or man to man with people. We get what they're saying. And just, I tell you, y'all, I think the days of politicians being politicians and just kind of saying what, tiptoeing around answers. I think that's one of the reasons that a large part of the country really got sucked in under Trump, because he's not like any politician we've ever seen. They're like, well, what do you think about Marco Rubio? Oh, he's a short little stubby finger guy. He's stupid. Well, people had never heard a politician just blatantly say stuff like that. Yeah, it's a big turnoff to most of all of us, because it's just indecent almost the way he does it. But I think the bigger picture is people are saying we're just fucking tired of politicians being politicians. And the Democrats, which I was a big supporter of Vice President Harris, the Democrats wear politicians on their sleeves. They're so political. They measure every word. They're so scared about wokeness. They're so scared if they make a mistake, it'll be viral and it'll be used against them, as opposed to just saying stuff and being real with people. And because I'm going to tell you, when people are being real people, it opens up a pathway to connect with all kind of people, because people are like, yeah, I get it. We can have a Democrat nominee who's maybe had some past, in his history. You know, I, for one, I want y'all to look at this right here. It actually helped Trump that he was out of office for 4 years. It gave him time to regroup. Yeah, it did. I want y'all to think about this. This right here kind of really pisses me off when I think about. I know we can come on here and talk about Trump every morning, every evening, 7 days a week. But there's some things about the Democrats too that's shitty and pissy. I love the senator from Minnesota, Al Franken. I just love him. I love people that have a deep intellect, and he was able to weave that in with comedic stuff that would just, to me, I loved his voice being in the Senate. There was a picture that surfaced from 20 years ago when he was on a plane, and he took a picture of a female comedian laying there asleep, and he posted something about, oh, you know, something, whatever. It wasn't that bad, just a picture of her sleeping. When the news media got it, oh, he was lambasted. Oh, he's disrespectful to women, Within 24, 48 hours, the Speaker of the Senate, the leader of the Senate, head of the Democratic Party, called on him to resign his Senate seat over a picture from 20 years ago. And he basically just resigned. The Democrats said, we won't support you. We run against you. We don't want you in office. You're bad news for the rest of us Democrats. There's something wrong about that. You know, my God. I mean, it wasn't like he had been brought into court and people were making accusations of how he forced himself upon them. None of that, just a picture that he took of a female comedian sleeping 20 years ago on a plane, going on tour somewhere out in some part of the world. And the Democrats got to get away from a lot of that, you know, got to get away from a lot of it. And now we have a convicted felon. Yeah, I liked Al Franken. I liked his politics. And I liked, the thing about it is, it's one thing to have people politically that are with the same issues that we have. It's another thing if they're also smart and know how to relate and put the issues out there in a way that other people like, oh, I get that. I get it. Now I get that. You know, and Al Franken was very much that way. And it shows the Democrats, there needs to be some, you know, after every election, a lot of times there's house cleaning. The Democrats need to do some house cleaning. You know who the house cleaners are in the Democratic Party? Me, you, us. We're the house cleaners. You know, did we just go stand in line and vote for the same old people that just been up there and hadn't really got the job done? Yeah. So, yeah, I see. And I mean, I consider myself fairly progressive, fairly woke, fairly awakened, fairly enlightened. I'm at the point that if Liz Cheney was running for office, although I know she has her stance about right to life and all that, I'd vote for her. Because you know why I would vote for her? She checks the box at the top of my list of the main criteria why I would love to vote for somebody. And that is, I believe they're a good person. They're not full of shit. They'll tell you the truth. They're not shady, you know. They're decent. She's a decent lady, Liz Cheney is. Yeah, I would have never voted for her 10 years ago. I would actually look at her like she was part of the devil. But after seeing what she did, what she sacrificed of her own self to give up her Senate seat and to be tarred and feathered and run out of Washington, I'd vote for her. You know, I would vote for her. I like her. You know, I like her. And to me, and maybe I come from a different thing. I had pastors that I knew when I was younger that, yeah, there'd be all kind of reasons why you shouldn't go to their church. They got caught sleeping with somebody's wife. They probably shouldn't have been pastoring. They had some issues. behind the scenes that people knew about. But there was something about them or him or them. There was just something about them I liked. I liked them. So what? Who's perfect? What's wrong with my throat? It is getting hoarse. I'm talking too much. Wrong climate for how you're talking about how we can find someone to run for president. Maybe. I don't think so. I think we eventually got to talk about we eventually got to figure out someone that's we can all put our hopes and dreams and get behind to get them going down the road to challenge that's what's going on. I tell you, Stephanie over here says, I think Kamala was going to put Liz on her staff. I tell you what, I think, I don't know if Liz Cheney would have done it. I think Vice President Harris should have put her on the ticket as her vice president, as a way to speak to a lot of people that had doubts about maybe her and her progressive things. They obviously, if you saw the two of them together, they seem to have a respect for each other. And that's the main part of the ball game. Do you respect each other? If you do, you can learn to work together. So, but yeah, my throat is kind of getting dry, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Y'all folks ain't over here on TikTok arguing with each other, are you? Hey, Mo. I don't know, Miss Joyce, why you think this is the wrong climate for how you talking about how we can find someone to run for president. I don't understand that comment. Or, yeah. Yeah, somebody says, but wasn't her father a war criminal? See, that's the point I'm making. If you couldn't vote for Liz Cheney because of Vice President Dick Cheney, and you're going to hold that against the daughter, I mean, to me, Democrats are kind of really losing the game on that. Yeah, it is hard to find people. That part, yeah. So anyway, y'all, so thank y'all for the hearts over here. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for joining in this evening. I'm playing around with a little software here, Miss Ava. I think if we go to Instagram over here, we go over here and you see it over here. Harrison Ford was a good president. Yeah. I can go over here and check comments on Instagram, but so anyway, everybody, this is Ava. Though
Stephanie.
I like Tim Walz also. Governor Walz, I don't know if he has a future. I don't know if Vice President Harris has a future in national office either. I mean, usually until Donald Trump, once you ever lost a national election, you pretty much kind of was done for. Robert says, I myself am a lifelong Democrat, 44 years. I do really like Mayor Pete, but I agree with you on his chances of being president. I really like Andy Bashar from Kentucky, but question his charisma. Yeah, I like him too because he speaks Southern language. He's like, y'all, how y'all doing? We love that. Southern people kind of love other Southern people, especially if they talk like us. Donald Trump's not Southern. He's just he's a grifter from New York. The thing about it is we wouldn't know about somebody like the governor of Kentucky, Andy Bashir, until he's in the fire. That's where it all, we've seen these people start out in politics and announce they're running for president. They have exploratory committees and all like that. And then a few months into it, they plummet and die because they just didn't, the sheen wore off of them real quick. you know, and so that's why the campaigns are out there, and it's about fundraising, it's about charisma, it's about connecting with people, and you kind of hate for somebody to run, and then they have this thing where if they, like Ted Kennedy did against the second term of Jimmy Carter, that if they don't win, then they're going to just really tear the whole party down and blow it up because their egos. So, oh no, you know, and so anyway, y'all, people over here saying they love Gavin Newsom. I don't know. He's a little slick Willie for me. You know, maybe that's just that old Southern part of me coming out. Yeah, he's quick on his feet, and he's yeah. I don't know. I did like the guy that ran for Senate in Texas a time or two ago, but then his sheen kind of washed off real quick too. Yeah, I don't really care for him, but there's somebody, and I'm hoping that there's somebody out there, might be a mayor of a little town in Idaho or a state legislator from Tennessee or somebody that just, when I remember when Jimmy Carter announced he was running for president, people around the country laughed at him. Just laughed at him. Said, look at this old country hick from Georgia. He ain't even in office now. Now you got to run for president. And then during the Iowa caucuses, they had people from Georgia bust out to Iowa. They called the Peanut Brigade. And he won. And he just kind of little by little, you know, he's country. But we need something new, a fresh voice. I think the country's tired of the fighting and we need somebody new on here. They'll shut down whoever started to rise up. It's too powerful. However, I may be wrong. Yeah. But anyhow, everybody, that's a little bit of politics for this evening. I'm sitting here having my throat coat, Slippery M. This is my favorite tea, Slippery M throat coat tea, hot herbal tea. It's so good. Project 2025 is proposing to rid us of the Constitution, and if they do that, it would open the path. Yeah. Well, I'm telling y'all, this thing's weird. This thing's scary, what's going on in the country. And I don't come on here to try like, oh, let's all get in a panic. And, you know, there's an old saying in the South is, you know, it's time to put your big girl bloomers on. And it's time for all of us that's concerned to kind of put our big girl bloomers on. Because we don't know where this is heading, but none of us have a good feel about where it's heading. So, I have that tea, Slippery M throat coat. Oh my God, it's so delicious. It's almost like a good cup of coffee, but in the evening time. It's very much, you know, Safi over on TikTok says it's very much the shades of Germany. And I'm not saying none of them's Hitler. I'm not saying nobody's going to be building gas chambers and none of that. But if being a history buff and somebody that loves to watch documentaries, and I don't know how many of them I've watched. There's one now on Netflix about the rise in Germany. It certainly starts like this. I don't know where this is going. But y'all, from the point of if you study the rise of Nazism, it started like this. First, you got to destroy trust in any kind of media. If you just follow the parallels up to this point where we're at tonight, it follows the path of that. And what I would tell people it's a very short step from doing away with marriage equality to going back to putting homosexuals in jail for just being homosexual. It's a very short window where that can happen. And even in the maybe 25 years ago, that there was a police that was unrelated checking on somebody, and there was two men in their bed together. They locked them up and drugged them through court for years, trying to put them in prison because there were laws on the books against sodomy. And so it's a very short window from A to Z is a very short to say, well, we're going to nullify marriage equality to we're going to start putting trans, homosexual, and lesbian people in jail for being homosexual. And I'm telling y'all, it's the nope, we're not going to do that. Let's see right here. Nope, we're not going to do that. Says drag this. All right, there we go. I hadn't touched my screen over here. So Robert over on Facebook says, I remember when Bill Clinton decided to run for president. The first time I saw him on television, I looked at my wife and told her that this man will be president. We as Democrats need someone to step out and step forward. And I think they will. You know, history is calling somebody. History, times are calling somebody for such a time as this. Now, I had a different experience than Robert. I remember when Bill Clinton spoke at Michael Dukakis, the Democratic Convention, and oh my God, he went on and on and on. He's supposed to give like a 20 or 30-minute speech. I think he spoke for an hour and a half. I'm like, good Lord, he's a Baptist preacher. He ain't never going to let people go. And Bill Clinton was a talker. But yeah, so the Democratic Party of the Bill Clintons, Jimmy Carters, Hillary Clintons, Barack Obamas, Nancy Pelosi's, in my mind, that party's over. We can never go back and re-galvanize, rejuvenate, restructure that. There's got to be a new way forward. There's got to be new voices that know how to connect with working people. These people that Donald Trump has, which are working people across Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Tennessee and Louisiana and places like that, the Democrats lost touch with them somewhere along the way. And I mean, they should be the core of the Democratic vote of wanting better for their kids and better health care. I mean, could you imagine taking a group of poor people that don't have health care, health insurance, and making them the people that would stop other people from having health care? They don't believe nobody should have it. You know, as opposed to like, yeah, we need health care, affordable health care. It's just weird. And the Democrats lost the game on this somewhere over the years. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to get off of here. Yeah, I think so. I started feeling something weird toward the last 2 weeks of the campaign, though. I was riding home one night, and I told Abe, and y'all know how enthusiastic I was. I worked my butt off for that campaign. And I told Abe about 2 weeks, I said, I could never say this publicly. I think she'll lose. I could just feel something didn't feel right. You know, it kind of started off like, well, we're all here, we're going to win. And then all of a sudden it just kind of, that window closed. And as it got election day, you realize like, yeah, it's deeper. It's deeper than what's going on right now. This ain't going to work. So anyway, y'all, let's have a good week, the week ahead. Yeah, we go on living life. We go on being a voice. We go on figuring out. We don't know which way to go now. We don't know how to go forward. That's why I think we need over the months, and it has to happen pretty quick in about a year. It needs to come around. If we have these same tired Democrats that thinks they're going to step in and fill a void and be a new way forward, you need charisma. You need to be able to connect with people. I'm not saying that he would be, and I've watched all the speakers come, like over this past campaign thing. I mean, I stood by the stage. I've heard of Stacey Abrams, Barack Obama, just people after people, Senator Warnock. I mean, all kind of politicians talk. I would say this. Yeah, Sharon, I agree with you. I felt the same. She didn't change her responses. My thing is, I hope the Democrats learned by this. When Vice President Harris, she was so roped off. She should have been having local press conferences. She should have been having sit downs every 5 minutes. Anybody that wanted to talk to her, any newspaper wanted to interview her, any podcast that it's one thing to go to a crowd of 25,000 people in DeKalb County. It's another thing to have spent that whole day speaking to in formats on social media and different places where you're literally talking to millions of people instead of 25,000 that they've spent all day hoarding us in there. I hope the Democrats learn from that. This is a new world we're living in. Social media is a whole new ball game. Yeah, they did try to tap into social media influencers. They had me. They came to my shop. They did a commercial of me, put it on their website, and they made sure I was. Once I got involved with them, they made sure I was there. They'd call me, "Are you coming? We got you. Just come to the back." And me and several other influencers. And there was a little bit of an ego trip and fun and all, but I wanted to make a difference. And going forward, and here's what I was going to say about being so close and hearing all these speeches. You yawn. They say basically. Vice President Harris, at all her campaign rallies, she gave the exact same speech. She never deviated from it. She never addressed anything. She just gave the same speech. I'm the prosecutor. He's the felon. The same speech. It was a good speech, but it could have been more, and and I hate to even say too much about that because it feels like I'm criticizing her. I'm not, But I watched politicians speak, and not that I think he'll run for president or whatever. He'd be a good vice president if somebody wanted to put him on the ticket. But maybe because he's a Baptist minister, and he pastors Ebenezer. But man, Senator Warnock, when he walked up on stage, he'd literally have people just eating out of his hand. Man, he took over a crowd where you could just feel the energy, like an old-time tent revival. He just connected with people. And I think it's because he's so schooled about how to allow himself to connect with people in the audience like that. Much more so than even President Obama. And I love President Obama. Stacey Abrams has that gift also. So I don't know. We'll get through this. We'll go forward. Who knows? Has America been lost forever? Maybe. Gail says, "Me too, Eddie. I have never gotten this involved with an election, and after, as I am now, I have to help get this administration going. We have to. I mean, we're not quitters as Americans. We don't give up, And my thing is, one hope that I have is that right always, in some ways, wins. Martin Luther King Jr. made that famous thing about the arc of righteousness always bends slowly, the curve of righteousness, but it does bend and go upward. And I have to have faith that the younger generation that's out there now, that they're going to eventually kind of really digest a lot of what's going on and be our hope that we think they should be, our hope for the future. And yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think, I wasn't saying Warnock was the right one either. Shanry, I wasn't saying Senator Warnock should run for president. I'm just like, whoever runs for president needs to be able to connect with people. And Senator Warnock, I enjoy him when he speaks. because he's plain spoken and he has that something that makes you lean in, you know. That's why, you know, the old, I was like, lovers lower their voice and their lover will lean in to hear them. You know, there's that magnetism, and nobody I see out on the Democratic stage has it right now, and nobody on the Republican stage has it either. If Trump collapses or was gone, I mean, J.D. Vance, that's like a wart growing on somebody's elbow. That's how boring and dull he is. So, but he is a good man. I love that I am so loving that Georgia, listen to this, y'all, in the midst of all this horridness that's going on in the White House and in our federal government, in the Congress and Senate, and the Supreme Court, still digest this one thing for a second. Of all places in the Deep South, the state of Georgia has 2 Democratic senators, an African-American Baptist preacher that pastors the former church of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Senator Jon Ossoff, who is a man of Jewish ancestry, a Jewish man and an African-American man, both Democrats from the state of Georgia. How wonderful is that? So it's kind of like on one end, the whole country's burning down. And then on the other hand, Georgia has 2 Democratic senators. So we have to have hope, and we have to believe that. Somebody says Barron will be our children's Trump in 20 years. Could be. You know, these dictators, once they get in power, they turn it over to their kids. Who knows? Maybe Don Jr. will be the next president. And the MAGA people would be okay with that. Anything, as long as they can keep Hillary's emails from ever coming out. It's funny. Yeah, thank you there. Shan Renee. Thank you there. I think Don Jr. will be going for a Senate seat. He may be, he may be. Who knows? Isn't he a little weird? He's weird, isn't he? Do y'all do that in other parts of the world, other parts of the country, where somebody's just something about him, you're like, yeah, they're a little weird, ain't they? It's just a little weird. I know. I guess I picked that up. Somebody over on TikTok says he's very weird. Somebody made a comment earlier about, you know what DEI stands for? Don Jr., Erica, and Ivanka. Like, yeah, we don't like Trump, do we? Diane says, I don't think young people will get involved until they see their gay friends lose their rights. Women don't get hired because they are a woman or get promoted because they are a woman. People with disabled children will lose their benefits. I tell you what's going to be a wake-up call, people. I tell you what's going to be a wake-up call. Let them start cutting them Social Security checks. You got 72 million Americans that live month to month on that Social Security check. Wait till Mr. Elon pulls a whoopie-doo on them, starts cutting that check, knock about $500 a month out of their monies that they need desperately to buy their medicines with. You'll see MAGA drop like a dead fly, and don't think that they ain't trying to figure out a way to do that as we speak this evening. If you trust them, God help you. If you think these billionaires up in that White House is really your friend, looking out for your interests, thinking about your family, God help you. God help you. God help you. No. Yeah. So, but anyhow, good evening there, Reddy Freddy. So who knows the future? We just don't know. But anyhow, y'all, good evening, good Sunday evening. Let's end it with this. Here in Atlanta, at least, in Georgia, across the side, what a beautiful weekend. What a wonderful time. Listen to this. What is the way one of the famous novels starts out? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I have a weekend where it's so beautiful. Yeah, so beautiful. We grilled pork chops on the grill and with vegetable shish kebabs, if that's how you say it. Sitting here having a cup of hot tea and a sip of wine. A lot of us are in good health. So we also can have the best of times and be living through the worst of times. We can be the light that's shining all around us and walking through dark places, you know? Yeah, hey, Digits Mom. Hey, Velo. Yeah, the dinner was delicious. The pork chop was that thick. And we slow grilled it. And oh my God, it was so tender. You could just, in the South, sometimes we just take our fingers and pull off a piece of meat and eat it like it was just so tender. And so we have to find some way to also, because we have very limited little space to be here on earth, we also, even in the midst of darkness, we have to find things and have joy and have love in our lives and enjoy a pork chop on a spring afternoon in February, which it feels it's going to be in the 70s for next to them. Let me also say this right here. Well, if you was down the street, we could invite you over. My heart breaks for the people that's being rounded up and separated in this capture of these people. And I seen on the front page of the AJC, the local Atlanta Journal-Constitution, where there's over 1,000 people marched down Buford Highway out around Plaza Fiesta yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And and they was toting signs that said, "Leave our families alone." It kind of, man, it makes me sad to think that, makes me sad just to think that these people have made our country better. I mean, my daughter's house is getting redone over here at Caught on Fire. Every single person I've seen come out there, the roofers, the framers, the sheetrock people, the fence, everybody's been Latino that's come out in groups to work on that house. These people have made our country better. These people are not stealing your jobs out there in them trailer parks. These people are not doing these things to your family that they say they're doing. These people are people up on when it's 90 degrees here in Georgia, 5 or 6 of them, you look down the street, they own some neighbor's house, putting them a new roof on it. And they're working for a lot less than what they would be working if they were white Americans up there doing that. And it just really saddens me. My heart goes out to them. I said on a live yesterday, I own a sign shop. Some of you people that's in this protest with the immigrants, get in touch with me. I'll make you some signs up. We'll make some banners. I'll come walk with you. I believe what they're doing to you is just disgraceful. Just so disgraceful. The only Latino people, and I've met a lot of them. I love them. They're such passionate, sweet, loving, kind people. All these other names they say they are, that's not been my experience. Not here in Georgia. So anyway, but anyway, love y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. Let's end this tonight. Let's have a good week. See y'all tomorrow evening, maybe. See y'all.